Hey there. Welcome to our channel. We're so glad you're here. Please like, share, and subscribe to join us for awesome content. Also share this video with your family and friends. Let's get started. The whisper of change as you settle into the quiet. Feel the subtle pull of transformation all around you. Imagine an ancient stillness, now gently yielding to motion. A natural unfolding that shapes everything, from a melting ice cube to the very rhythm of your breath. Here, in the soft embrace of the night, we begin to feel the universe's quiet inclination towards change. Lie back now, and let your body soften into the mattress, your breath a gentle tide ebbing and flowing. Feel the quiet hum of your own existence, a tiny, intricate universe within the vast one. As you drift, notice the subtle shifts around you. Perhaps the room grows a degree cooler as the night deepens, or the shadows on the wall lengthen and soften. These are tiny whispers, soft suggestions of a profound, universal truth. Everything changes. Imagine, for a moment, a single, perfect ice cube resting in a glass of water. It sits cold and crystalline, a tiny monument to order. Its molecules are tightly packed, neatly aligned, vibrating gently in their fixed positions. This is a moment of stillness, of apparent permanence. But even as you observe it, a subtle dance begins. The warmer air of the room, the slightly warmer water around it, gently nudge its edges. Energy, unseen and unheard, transfers. A single molecule breaks free, then another, then a cascade. The sharp edges soften, the solid form begins to yield, and the crystalline structure slowly, gracefully, dissolves into the liquid. The ice does not fight this change. It simply surrenders, transforming from one state to another. This quiet yielding, this natural unfolding, is not an act of destruction, but an act of transformation. It's the universe's gentle inclination, its soft preference for movement, for diffusion, for finding new ways to be. This preference has a name in science, a beautiful, flowing word: entropy. But for now, let us simply feel it, like a gentle breeze rustling through leaves, or the slow, deliberate turning of the earth. It is the force that melts the ice cube, that causes your warm tea to cool, that ensures tomorrow will always be different from today. Think of the air you breathe, invisible and omnipresent. If you were to release a single, sweet-smelling drop of essential oil in a perfectly still room, at first, its scent would be concentrated in one tiny spot. But in moments, you would begin to detect its presence across the room, then throughout it. The scent molecules, carried by the natural, random movement of the air particles, gently spread, dispersing from their concentrated origin. They seek out all available space, not because they are pushed by a great force, but because there are simply more ways for them to be spread out than for them to remain huddled together. This diffusion is entropy at play, a seeking of wider possibilities, a natural inclination towards a more even distribution. It is a quiet, persistent whisper telling everything to spread out, to explore its potential arrangements. This universal whisper isn't just about molecules and temperatures. It's woven into the fabric of time itself. You experience time flowing in one direction, always forward. You cannot unmelt the ice cube, you cannot gather the diffused scent back into its original drop. This arrow of time, this persistent forward motion, is guided by the same principle of entropy. It's why eggs don't spontaneously reassemble, why sandcastles crumble, and why memories, over time, can soften and blur. The universe, in its gentle unfolding, constantly moves towards states that are more likely, more probable, more diverse in their arrangements. Even your own body, as you lie here, is a testament to this constant, gentle change. Your cells are constantly renewing, adapting, transforming. The food you ate earlier is being broken down, its energy slowly diffusing through your system, allowing you to breathe, to think, to simply be. This internal ballet of breakdown and renewal, of energy spreading and shifting, is a complex, beautiful expression of entropy within you. Your body works to maintain a remarkable state of order, but it does so by constantly interacting with its surroundings, taking in energy, and gently releasing heat and waste back into the world, participating in the greater universal flow. This whisper of change, this gentle push towards greater diffusion, is not something to fear. It is the very engine of the universe, the reason for evolution, for growth, for every new dawn. Without this constant unfolding, this ceaseless transformation, everything would remain frozen, static, unchanging. Life as you know it would not exist. It is a fundamental truth, as quiet and powerful as the slow turning of the planets, as natural as a leaf falling from a tree. As you drift deeper now, consider that this gentle, pervasive force is not just about what breaks down, but what expands, what opens up, what becomes possible. The ice melts to become water, free to flow, to evaporate, to become cloud, to become rain. The scent spreads, filling the room, embracing all corners. Entropy is the universe's way of constantly seeking new arrangements, new possibilities, new ways to simply be. And as you sleep, this same quiet force continues its work, gently guiding the universe, and you within it, towards an ever-unfolding future. Tomorrow, as the light begins to filter through your window, you will awaken to a world that has shifted, ever so slightly, from the one you closed your eyes to. And that subtle, beautiful difference, that constant, quiet unfolding, is an echo of the grander, more magnificent ballet that plays out across the cosmos, where stars ignite and galaxies spiral, never quite still. The unfolding cosmos, close your eyes and journey into the cosmic ballet, where stars ignite and galaxies spiral, never quite still. Each celestial dance, each distant twinkle, speaks of a gradual shift, a slow, graceful expansion towards new arrangements. You are a part of this vast, gentle dispersal, ever unfolding. As you rest, let your awareness expand beyond the confines of your room, beyond the soft blankets that embrace you, beyond the very air you breathe. Imagine, if you can, the vastness of the cosmos, stretching out in every direction, an endless canvas of shimmering light and profound darkness. In the soft echo of the first chapter's whisper of change, we now turn our gaze to the grandest stage of all, the universe itself, perpetually unfolding. From the quiet, tender beginnings of everything nearly 14 billion years ago, the universe has been on a journey of continuous expansion. Picture a tiny, infinitely dense point, holding all that ever was and all that ever will be. Then, in an instant beyond understanding, it began to stretch, to diffuse, to become more. This is not an explosion in the fiery sense, but a gentle, persistent breathing out, a quiet sigh that continues even now. Every galaxy, every star, every atom is still, in this very moment, drifting softly further from every other, making more room, finding new arrangements, creating an ever-expanding space for all that exists. Consider the birth of a star. In the deep, cold stretches of interstellar space, vast clouds of gas and dust, mostly hydrogen and helium, drift aimlessly. These particles are spread out, disordered in their vastness. But within this gentle disarray, tiny gravitational whispers begin. Over eons, these whispers draw particles closer, ever so slowly, creating denser pockets. As these pockets gather, their gravity intensifies, pulling more and more material inward. This drawing together seems, at first glance, to be a counterforce to entropy, a creation of order from chaos. And in a localized sense, it is. But this gathering is also an engine for a far greater, more profound unfolding. As the gas and dust compress, the core of this nascent star grows hotter, denser, until, at its heart, nuclear fusion ignites. Hydrogen atoms, under immense pressure and temperature, fuse to form helium, releasing an unimaginable torrent of energy. This energy, born from the very order of the star, then streams outwards, diffusing into the vastness of space. It spreads as light, as heat, as radiation, pushing against the inward pull of gravity. A star, therefore, is a magnificent luminous example of entropy in action. It creates a temporary, localized pocket of intense order, but in doing so, it acts as a giant furnace, constantly converting concentrated energy into diffuse radiation, radiating its internal heat outwards, contributing to the overall gentle spreading of energy throughout the cosmos. Now, lift your gaze even higher to the galaxies. Our own Milky Way, a breathtaking spiral of billions of stars, is not a static painting. It is a slow, majestic ballet, where stars orbit a central point, where gas clouds collapse and new stars are born, where old stars swell and eventually fade. And beyond our galaxy, countless others exist, each on its own journey, often gently interacting, even colliding, over billions of years. When galaxies merge, it's not a violent crash that destroys, but a slow, gravitational dance that reshapes. Stars rarely collide. Instead, the vast empty spaces between them allow them to pass through one another, scattering and reorganizing into a new, larger, more diffuse structure. The merging of galaxies is another cosmic expression of entropy, leading to a wider, less structured, more spread-out distribution of matter and energy. Even the elements that make up your very being, the carbon, oxygen, iron, were forged in the fiery hearts of ancient stars, scattered across the cosmos by supernova explosions, those spectacular finales of massive stars. These explosions are violent, yes, but they are also ultimate acts of diffusion, taking concentrated stellar matter and dispersing it across vast interstellar distances, enriching the cosmic dust from which new stars, new planets, and new life can form. You are, quite literally, stardust recycled and reorganized, an exquisite arrangement of atoms that once floated freely across the universe, now momentarily gathered here within you. The universe, in its entirety, is not holding tightly onto its initial concentrated state. Instead, it is gently letting go, expanding, stretching, moving towards a state where its energy and matter are spread as thinly and as evenly as possible. This is its preferred direction, its natural inclination. It's the grandest scale of the ice cube melting, the scent spreading, the tea cooling. It is the cosmic unfolding, a slow, deliberate march towards a profound, quiet equilibrium. This deep, pervasive trend reminds us that change is not just inevitable, but fundamental to existence. From the smallest atom to the grandest galaxy, everything participates in this vast, elegant journey of dispersal and transformation. And as the cosmos continues its gentle expansion, its subtle spreading, it naturally leans towards a state where things are less clustered, more evenly distributed. This tendency, this quiet push towards a wider variety of arrangements, is a continuous universal dance, and tomorrow we will feel this quiet preference for freedom more intimately, right here on Earth, in the simple, everyday ways that things embrace disorder. Loving this? Hit that subscribe button to keep up with our videos. Also share this video with your family and friends. The dance of disorder. Picture the neatness of a freshly made bed, then the soft disarray of morning. This simple shift holds a profound secret: the universe's quiet preference for embracing the myriad ways things can be arranged, a natural inclination towards a comforting, gentle spread. It is not chaos, but a wider, more open freedom. As you lie peacefully, let your thoughts drift to the simple arrangements of your day and how easily they shift. Think of your bed sheets, smoothed and tucked in before sleep, a picture of perfect, crisp order. Each fold, each corner held precisely in place. This morning, however, those same sheets might be softly crumpled, a pillow askew, the blanket gently draped in a new, unpatterned way. This natural transformation, from crisp order to soft disarray, is not a failure, but a quiet demonstration of the universe's preference for what we might call disorder. But let us gently reframe that word, disorder. It often carries a sense of messiness or chaos, something to be avoided. Yet, in the language of the cosmos, disorder or randomness simply means there are vastly more ways for things to be spread out than for them to be neatly arranged. Imagine a deck of playing cards freshly shuffled. It is highly unlikely for them to be in perfect numerical or suit order after a good shuffle. Why? Because there are an astronomical number of ways for them to be mixed up compared to the single perfect order. The shuffled state is simply far more probable. This gentle inclination towards more arrangements is at the heart of entropy. It's not about things becoming bad, but about things becoming more free to occupy all possible states. Think of a handful of brightly colored beads, initially sorted by color into separate piles. It takes effort to sort them to create that distinct order. But if you were to gently pour them onto a table, or tumble them in a bag, they would inevitably mix. The mixed state is simply more likely because there are so many more combinations where the colors are intertwined than where they are perfectly segregated. The beads have found a wider freedom, a more varied distribution. Consider a delicate sandcastle built by the ocean shore. Each turret, each wall, is a painstaking arrangement of countless grains of sand. It represents a high degree of localized order. But as the tide whispers in, or the wind sighs softly across its surface, the grains of sand begin to separate. They are gently nudged, one by one, losing their fixed positions within the castle structure. They tumble, they mix, they disperse until the castle is no more, returning to a flatter, more spread-out state on the beach. The sand has not vanished. It has simply embraced a state where its individual grains are less constrained, less organized, and therefore, in a sense, more free to be anywhere on the wide expanse of the beach. This dance of disorder is a fundamental aspect of reality. It's why cream mixes with coffee, why sugar dissolves, why a drop of food coloring spreads through water. In each case, the system moves from a state where components are localized and highly organized to a state where they are more evenly distributed, more mixed, and have more available positions to occupy. The universe, in its deep wisdom, is always seeking the path of greatest probability, the state with the most options. Even within your own body, this dance is perpetual. Your body is a marvel of intricate order, a living system that constantly fights against the simple tendency to spread out. It takes in highly organized food molecules, breaks them down into simpler components, and uses that energy to build and maintain its complex structures. But in doing so, it generates waste products, heat, and simpler molecules, which it then releases into the environment. You create localized order within yourself, but at the cost of increasing the overall disorder or spreading of energy and matter in your surroundings. It's a delicate, beautiful balance, a continuous negotiation with the universe's gentle pull. This quiet preference for embracing all arrangements, for a comforting, gentle spread, is not a force that compels things to collapse into chaos. Instead, it is a drive towards greater multiplicity, towards systems where components have more ways to exist, more positions to occupy. It is a slow, elegant expansion into a realm of wider possibilities. And as you drift further into sleep, know that this profound, universal tendency is always at play, guiding every interaction, every transformation. Just as the scattered beads find their resting place, and the morning bed eases into its soft folds, the universe, too, follows a path of quiet ease, where energy and matter seek their widest, most peaceful distribution. This natural flow, this preference for what is most probable, is a gentle current that carries everything along, and tomorrow we will explore how this current always moves in one direction, finding the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance. Imagine a tiny drop of ink meeting a clear glass of water, watching it bloom and diffuse effortlessly throughout. This natural spread, this gentle blending, shows us a fundamental truth. The universe prefers paths of quiet ease, where energy and matter seek their widest, most peaceful distribution. As you rest, feeling the quiet rhythm of your own breath, let your mind wander to the simplest of journeys. Think of a single raindrop landing on a smooth, sloping surface. It doesn't struggle or strive. It simply follows the incline, tracing the easiest path downwards, guided by gravity's gentle hand. Or imagine a meandering river, carving its way through a landscape. It doesn't force a straight line. Instead, it flows around obstacles, finding the lowest points, embracing the contours of the land, always seeking the path of least resistance. This intrinsic tendency, this effortless drift towards the easiest route, is a powerful yet gentle principle woven into the very fabric of the universe, and it is another beautiful facet of entropy. Recall the image of the ink drop in clear water. When the dark, concentrated ink first touches the luminous liquid, it doesn't stay clumped. It doesn't try to force its way through a difficult route. Instead, its tiny individual particles, though invisible to the naked eye, are constantly in motion, bumping into the water molecules, being nudged and jostled. There are simply far more ways for an ink particle to move away from the highly concentrated area, where it is crowded by other ink particles, than to stay put. Each tiny particle is, in a sense, seeking its own freedom, its own space. This collective seeking results in an effortless, beautiful bloom. As the ink spreads throughout the entire volume of water, diffusing until its color is evenly, softly distributed. This natural spread, this gentle blending, reveals a fundamental truth about energy and matter. They always tend to move from states of higher concentration or higher potential to states of lower concentration or lower potential. It's like a compressed spring, always wanting to release its stored energy, or a ball at the top of a hill, always wanting to roll down. There is no external force pushing the ink. It is the inherent probability, the overwhelming number of available spaces, that guides its path. The path of least resistance is not necessarily the quickest, but the most probable, the most natural, the one that requires the least active input of external energy to maintain a less probable state. Think about a warm cup of cocoa on a cold evening. The heat, a form of energy, is concentrated within the liquid. The air around it, by comparison, holds less of this thermal energy. Just like the ink, the heat does not stay confined. Its energetic particles vibrate against the cooler air molecules, transferring their warmth. This transfer happens effortlessly, flowing outwards from the cup into the surrounding room, until the cocoa gradually cools and the room is infinitesimally warmed. The heat has followed the path of least resistance, seeking out every available space to distribute itself, moving from a concentrated state to a more diffused one. This quiet equalization is not a loss, but a sharing, a spreading, a natural inclination towards thermal balance. Even in geological processes, we see this principle at work. Consider a mountain range, a majestic display of concentrated rock and uplifted earth. Over vast stretches of time, the forces of wind and water gently erode its peaks. Tiny particles break free, carried by the rain and the streams, flowing downwards, always seeking the path of least resistance towards the valleys, eventually reaching the rivers, and finally the vast, flat expanse of the ocean floor. The mountain doesn't actively resist this dispersal. It simply yields to the patient, persistent forces that move its material from a highly ordered, elevated state to a more spread out, lower energy configuration. This concept, the path of least resistance, is not about laziness but about efficiency in the grand cosmic scheme. It is the universe's tendency to find the most probable and energetically favorable configurations. It's why gases expand to fill any container, why smells waft through a room, why a pile of leaves gently disperses in the wind. These transformations occur spontaneously, without any external effort, because they lead to states of higher entropy, states where energy and matter are more widely distributed and have more ways to arrange themselves. As you drift deeper now, imagine yourself as part of this gentle, universal flow. Just as a river finds its way to the sea, and heat spreads to cool air, so too do the forces of the cosmos guide all things towards states of wider, more peaceful distribution. There is a deep comfort in understanding that the universe, in its wisdom, always chooses the easiest, most probable route. It is a quiet promise of surrender, a beautiful testament to the natural movement towards balance and openness. This inherent flow, this quiet preference for the most probable path, is not merely a scientific concept. It is an intimate part of your own experience, influencing everything from the cooling of your body to the quiet settling of dust. And as the night deepens, we will continue our journey, following this soft current, observing how this gentle distribution expresses itself most powerfully in the steady, unwavering movement of the river of heat. The river of heat. Feel the warmth of your skin, the cool touch of the air around you. Heat, like a gentle river, always flows from where it gathers, spreading outwards, sharing its warmth until all is in soft balance. This quiet equalization is a core whisper of the cosmos, a comforting promise of ultimate equilibrium. As you lie still, feeling the gentle warmth of your own body, the comfortable cocoon of your blankets, notice the subtle exchange that is always taking place. Your skin, radiating a soft heat, meets the cooler air of the room. This tiny, continuous interaction is a quiet dance, a profound illustration of one of the universe's most consistent and gentle flows, the river of heat. Just as a river always flows downhill, never uphill spontaneously, heat always flows from warmer places to cooler places, never the other way around on its own. It seeks balance, a quiet equalization, a spread. Imagine, if you will, holding a warm stone in your hand that has been basking in the sunlight. At first, the stone feels distinctly warm, perhaps even hot, against your cooler palm. But as moments pass, you begin to feel the warmth diminish from the stone, and your hand, in turn, feels slightly warmer. The heat from the stone has not vanished. It has simply begun its journey, flowing gently from the more energetic, vibrating molecules of the stone to the less energetic molecules of your skin. This transfer happens effortlessly, without conscious effort from either the stone or your hand. It is the universe finding its path of least resistance, distributing energy until both the stone and your hand reach a soft, shared temperature. This movement of heat is a fundamental expression of entropy. Heat is a form of energy related to the random motion of atoms and molecules. When a substance is hot, its particles are vibrating, rotating, and moving more vigorously. When it is cold, its particles are moving less. When a warmer object comes into contact with a cooler object, the more energetic particles of the warmer object collide with the less energetic particles of the cooler object. In these collisions, energy is transferred, like dancers passing their kinetic energy to one another in a slow, intricate ballet. The result is that the more energetic particles slow down a little, and the less energetic particles speed up a little until, over time, all the particles are moving with a more uniform average energy. The heat has spread out, diffused, found more ways to distribute itself across the combined system. Think of an open window on a chilly day. If your room is warm, the heat from inside does not stay confined. It gently drifts towards the cooler outside air. The fast-moving air molecules inside collide with the slower-moving molecules near the window, passing on their energy. Eventually, the warm air escapes, mingling with the cold air, and your room becomes cooler, while the vast expanse of the outside air becomes infinitesimally warmer. The concentrated heat has dispersed, spreading itself across a much larger volume, increasing the overall entropy of the system. This gentle release, this movement towards a more even distribution, is ceaseless. Even when you boil a pot of water on a stove, you are witnessing this river of heat at work. The concentrated energy from the flame or heating element is transferred to the pot, then to the water. The water molecules gain energy, moving faster and faster until some of them have enough energy to break free as steam. This steam then disperses into the air, carrying the heat with it. While you are adding energy to create the hot water, the moment you remove the heat source, the water begins to cool, and the steam continues to diffuse, demonstrating that the natural tendency is always towards spreading out. This quiet equalization, this sharing of energy until all is in soft balance, is a comforting promise of ultimate equilibrium. It means that intense concentrations of energy will always, eventually, spread out. The fiery heart of a star will radiate its light and heat for billions of years, but eventually, even it will exhaust its fuel and cool. A hot cup of tea will eventually reach room temperature. A warm body, resting in a cool bed, will slowly transfer its warmth to the sheets and the air around it. This is not a force of depletion, but a grand, universal process of leveling out, of finding a gentle, vast evenness. This gentle, pervasive flow of heat is a constant reminder that nothing remains perpetually isolated or eternally at a peak of intensity. Everything in the universe, from the grandest cosmic phenomena to the simplest touch of your hand, participates in this quiet dance of energy sharing, moving towards a state of greater distribution. It's a profound testament to the universe's innate tendency to let go, to spread out, to find peace in balance. As you drift now, feeling the warmth of your breath, the quiet presence of your own body, understand that you are part of this magnificent, continuous flow. The river of heat is always moving, always seeking its way, sharing its essence. And as it flows, it subtly, yet profoundly, influences the direction of time itself, carrying everything along in its gentle current, pushing us forward into a future that can never be undone, leading us towards a unique, irreversible path. Where shadows lengthen, envision the grand, unhurried arc of time, stretching beyond your imagining. Each moment, a soft step forward into a future that will never return, carrying everything along in its gentle, one-way current. This irreversible flow is not a loss, but a quiet, constant creation of new possibilities, ever expanding into the vastness. As you lie in the stillness of the night, perhaps you can feel the subtle passage of time, a soft, invisible current carrying you gently forward. The moments of this day are already becoming memories, settling into the quiet archives of your mind. There is a profound, undeniable truth in this: time moves in one direction. It is an unhurried, grand arc, stretching endlessly before and behind us, a cosmic river that always flows downstream, never upstream. This irreversible nature of time, this one-way current, is perhaps the most personal and pervasive manifestation of the universe's tendency towards entropy. Think back to the melting ice cube. Once it has transformed into water, it cannot spontaneously reform into a solid cube in a warmer room. The diffused scent cannot gather itself back into a concentrated drop. The cooled tea will not spontaneously become hot again. These processes, driven by the spreading out of energy and the embracing of more probable arrangements, are fundamentally irreversible. This irreversibility is the signature of entropy. It is why we remember the past but cannot revisit it, why we grow older but do not grow younger. Every gentle transformation, every quiet unfolding in the universe, leaves behind a unique, unrepeatable path. Consider a delicate, fragile glass that slips from your hand and shatters upon the floor. It breaks into a myriad of pieces, scattering across the surface. This act, too, is a dramatic, immediate expression of entropy. The highly ordered, singular glass object transforms into a multitude of disordered, separated fragments. Now, imagine those fragments spontaneously reassembling, leaping up from the floor, and fusing back into a perfect glass. Your intuition tells you this is impossible. Why? Because there are infinitely more ways for the glass to be broken and scattered than there are for it to be perfectly whole. The shattered state is overwhelmingly more probable. And the energy released when it shattered, once concentrated, has now diffused into the surrounding environment as sound and heat. The universe simply prefers the state of greater dispersal, and once achieved, it rarely, if ever, spontaneously reverses. This universal leaning towards increasing entropy is what gives time its direction, what imbues it with its inherent arrow. Without this principle, every process could theoretically run backward, and the universe would be a chaotic, timeless swirl of events with no discernible progression. But because everything naturally tends towards a state of greater overall disorder or greater distribution of energy, each moment becomes unique, each event a step forward in an ever-unfolding narrative. The past leaves its mark in the form of increased entropy, making it distinct from the present, and the present continuously becomes the past as entropy continues its gentle increase. Even on a grand, cosmic scale, this arrow of time is evident. The universe began in a state of remarkably low entropy. All its energy and matter were concentrated in a tiny, dense point. From that singular, highly ordered beginning, it has been expanding, diluting, and spreading out for billions of years. Stars consume their nuclear fuel, radiating light and heat into the vastness. Galaxies drift further apart. The concentrated energy of the early universe is slowly, inexorably, being distributed across an ever larger volume. This cosmic expansion, this grand unraveling, is the ultimate manifestation of entropy, and it is what defines the very flow of cosmic time. This irreversible flow is not a loss, but a quiet, constant creation of new possibilities, ever expanding into the vastness. When the glass shatters, it creates countless new surfaces, new edges, new arrangements that did not exist before. When the star burns, it creates heavier elements that will later form planets and life. The very act of moving forward in time, guided by entropy, allows for new forms, new connections, new experiences to emerge. It ensures that the future is never merely a repetition of the past, but a continuous unfolding, a relentless expansion into the realm of the possible. Feel the quiet passage of moments, a gentle current carrying you deeper into rest. This understanding, that time's arrow is guided by the universe's profound tendency to spread out, to diffuse, to embrace all possible arrangements, is a deep and comforting truth. It means that every breath you take, every thought you think, every subtle shift in your surroundings is part of this grand, irreversible journey. It is why you can never step into the same river twice, why each sunrise is unique, and why the future, though unknown, is always truly new. And as you settle into this profound truth, consider how this constant blending and spreading influences the smallest details of our world. Tomorrow, we will turn our attention to the simple, sweet magic of how things mix and intertwine, like a spoonful of sweetness dissolving in your warm evening tea, becoming one with every sip. A spoonful of sweetness recall the simple magic of sugar dissolving in warm tea, its crystals vanishing, their sweetness now intertwined with every sip. This everyday wonder mirrors the universe's tendency to blend, to mix and disperse until no part feels separate, creating a quiet, harmonious uniformity. As you lie wrapped in stillness, let your senses recall the comforting ritual of a warm drink. Perhaps it's a cup of tea or warm milk gently steaming in your hand, and then the simple act of adding a spoonful of sugar. At first, the sugar crystals sit at the bottom, a tiny, glittering pile of order, distinct from the liquid. But as you gently stir, or even as you let it sit, something beautiful and inevitable begins to happen. The sharp edges of the crystals soften, they shrink, they seem to vanish, and their sweetness, once confined, now spreads, mingling with every drop of the liquid until the entire cup holds its gentle flavor. This everyday magic, this dissolving and intertwining, is a perfect miniature mirror of the universe's profound tendency to blend. It is another quiet expression of entropy, where individual components give up their distinct, localized order to become part of a larger, more uniformly distributed whole. The sugar molecules don't disappear. They simply spread out, moving from a highly concentrated, crystalline state to a much more dispersed state within the water molecules. There are far, far more ways for the sugar molecules to be mixed throughout the tea than for them to remain clustered together in a perfect crystal. The universe, in its gentle wisdom, always favors the most probable arrangement. Think of a garden, vibrant with many different flowers, each color distinct, each bloom separate. But imagine, over time, as petals fall, as the wind blows, as rain washes over the earth, these individual colors and forms begin to mingle. Dust from one flower settles on another, seeds from one plant scatter amongst others. Eventually, if left undisturbed for a very long time, the distinct piles of petals and seeds would simply blend into the earth, their individualities dissolving into a richer, more uniform soil. This blending is not a loss of beauty, but a transformation into a different kind of richness, a quiet embrace of unity. This blending tendency isn't just about solids dissolving in liquids. It's about gases mixing, like the perfume you might wear gently diffusing into the air of a room, no longer clinging to your skin but becoming part of the atmosphere around you. It's about liquids mixing, like cream swirling into coffee until the dark liquid becomes a uniform, creamy brown. In each instance, the components move from a state where they are segregated and distinct to a state where they are integrated and uniformly distributed. This is the universe seeking its most peaceful configuration, where no single part is vastly different from another, where all energies and substances have found their widest, most harmonious spread. This natural merging, this drive towards a quieter, harmonious uniformity, is a fundamental force, just as powerful and persistent as gravity. It's why smoke rises and disperses into the sky, why the scent of baking bread fills your home, why a drop of food coloring tints an entire bowl of water. Each of these simple acts is a testament to the universe's quiet desire to spread out, to mingle, to avoid sharp boundaries and intense concentrations, moving always towards a state of soft balance. Even the very air you breathe is a perfect example of this blending. Nitrogen, oxygen, argon, and trace gases. They don't separate themselves into layers. They are intimately mixed, forming a uniform, life-sustaining blanket around our planet. If, for a moment, you could imagine them somehow separating into distinct layers, it would take an immense amount of energy to maintain that unnatural order. Left to their own tendencies, they would immediately remix, seeking the vast number of ways they can intertwine with each other. As you drift deeper now, feel the comfort in this universal inclination to blend. There is a deep, quiet peace in knowing that everything ultimately seeks to share its essence, to become part of a greater whole. Just as the spoonful of sweetness becomes one with the tea, making every sip consistent, so too does the universe gently move towards a state where all its components are beautifully, harmoniously intertwined, seeking a quiet equilibrium. This deep, pervasive tendency to mix and intertwine, to seek out uniform blends, whispers a profound truth. The universe, in its very essence, moves towards a state of ultimate rest and widespread distribution. And tomorrow, as we continue our journey, we will consider how, in the midst of this grand unfolding, life itself seems to resist this trend, like a tiny seed pushing through the earth, a miniature miracle weaving complexity from simplicity. The seed of life, consider the delicate sprout pushing through the earth, a tiny miracle of order. Life itself seems to gently gather, weaving complexity from simplicity, a temporary, beautiful resistance to the general unfolding. Your own body, a masterpiece of intricate design, is a testament to life's continuous, localized act of creation. As you lie still, feeling the quiet rhythm of your own heart, let your mind wander to the vibrant, growing world outside. Think of a tiny seed, no bigger than a speck, nestled in the dark earth. It holds within it an incredible blueprint for a complex, ordered structure. A delicate stem, intricate leaves, perhaps even a brilliant flower. And then, against all odds, it pushes upwards, drawing energy from its surroundings, organizing simple molecules into the sophisticated architecture of a living plant. This is a profound mystery, a beautiful seeming defiance of the universe's general tendency towards blending and spreading out. Life, in its essence, appears to gather, to concentrate, to build intricate patterns from diffuse components. It creates localized pockets of astonishing order. From a single fertilized cell, a complex human body emerges, with billions of specialized cells organized into tissues, organs, and systems, all working in harmonious concert. This magnificent feat of self-organization, this weaving of complexity from simplicity, seems, at first glance, to contradict the very principles of entropy we have been exploring. But here lies a deeper, more beautiful truth. Life does not truly defy entropy. Instead, it works with it, in a clever, magnificent dance. To create and maintain its exquisite internal order, a living system must constantly take in energy from its environment in a highly concentrated, usable form. For a plant, this is the focused energy of sunlight. For an animal, it is the ordered chemical bonds within food. This concentrated energy is then processed, transformed, and used to build and maintain the complex structures of life. But in every step of this process, something else happens. The usable energy is converted, and a portion of it is released back into the environment in a more diffuse, less usable form, often as heat. Imagine a cell within your body, a tiny, bustling factory. It takes in simple nutrient molecules, breaks them down, and uses the released energy to construct new proteins, repair structures, and power its functions. In doing so, it generates waste products and heat. These waste products, which are more disordered than the organized nutrients taken in, are then expelled into your bloodstream and ultimately from your body, where they disperse into the environment. The heat you constantly radiate into your room is another example of this. You create a remarkable island of order, your living body, by increasing the disorder, or entropy, of your surroundings. This delicate balance is key. Life forms are not closed systems. They are open, constantly interacting with their environment. They draw order from outside, use it to build their own internal order, and then return a greater measure of disorder to the external world. Think of an intricate clock. It is highly ordered, but it requires the constant input of energy, perhaps from a winding spring or a battery, and as it runs, it produces tiny amounts of heat and friction, diffusing energy into its surroundings. Life is like that clock, but infinitely more complex and self-sustaining through this continuous exchange. From the simplest single-celled organism to the most complex ecosystem, life continuously builds and maintains its unique forms, but always by increasing the overall entropy of the larger system it inhabits. A lush forest, seemingly a pinnacle of biological order, is constantly capturing solar energy, growing, decaying, and releasing heat and gases back into the atmosphere and soil. The localized order of the forest thrives because it participates in the grander universal unfolding, acting as a powerful engine for energy dispersal. Your own body, as you lie here in peace, is a living testament to this continuous, localized act of creation. Every breath, every heartbeat, every thought is a subtle act of organizing molecules and energy within you, sustained by the constant intake of ordered resources and the gentle release of diffuse energy. You are a swirling vortex of temporary order, beautifully poised within the grand, entropic flow of the cosmos, an exquisite, self-renewing structure that demonstrates life's remarkable ability to build against the current, always at the gentle expense of the wider world's disorganization. And as you settle into the profound truth of your own living, breathing complexity, held within this magnificent, unfolding universe, consider the beauty of release. Tomorrow, we will gently explore this concept more deeply, recognizing that in the act of letting go, whether it's a breath exhaled or a memory softly fading, there is a quiet peace and a natural diffusion that allows for new spaces to form, an invitation to openness. The gentle release, think of a breath exhaled, softly dissipating into the air, or a memory fading, its sharp edges softening over time. There is a quiet beauty in release, in letting go, in the natural diffusion that allows for new spaces to form, a gentle invitation to peace and openness. As you lie here, enveloped by the stillness of the night, feel the simple, profound act of your own breath. Inhaling, you draw in the organized, life-giving air. Exhaling, you release a gentle sigh, a whisper of warmth and carbon dioxide, softly dissipating into the atmosphere around you. This effortless release, this letting go into the vastness, is more than just a biological function. It is a microcosm of a universal principle, a quiet beauty woven into the very fabric of existence. The gentle release. This act of releasing, of letting go, is a fundamental aspect of entropy. It's the universe's way of allowing things to spread out, to diffuse, to surrender their concentrated forms and find a wider, more peaceful distribution. When you exhale, the molecules that were once contained within your lungs now disperse into the room, mingling with the air, finding countless new arrangements. This is not a loss, but a transformation, a continuous act of opening and expanding. Consider a memory held sharply in your mind, perhaps from earlier today. Its details are vivid, its emotions clear, a highly ordered collection of neural connections. But as hours pass, as days turn into weeks, some of those sharp edges begin to soften. The intensity may lessen, certain details might subtly blur. This fading is a form of gentle release, a natural diffusion within your mind. The memory doesn't vanish entirely, but its concentrated vividness gives way to a more integrated, less acutely defined presence. This isn't a failure of recall, but rather the brain's natural tendency to process and distribute information, moving from a highly energized state to a more settled one, allowing new thoughts and experiences to occupy its vast neural landscape. This principle of gentle release is observable everywhere. Think of a perfume initially potent and localized when sprayed, but which then subtly dissipates into the air, its scent becoming less concentrated, more diffused, until it is barely noticeable. The molecules haven't been destroyed. They have simply found a wider freedom, spread out into a larger volume, embracing the myriad possibilities of arrangement within the air. This natural spreading, this quiet surrender, creates space. The strong, concentrated scent releases its grip, allowing the air to feel fresh and open once more. Even the grandest stars, in their magnificent life cycles, demonstrate this gentle release. They spend billions of years fusing elements in their cores, creating pockets of immense energy and order. But eventually they exhaust their fuel, and in their final moments, some expand and shed their outer layers, or explode in brilliant supernovae. This is a dramatic, yet ultimately gentle, release of concentrated matter and energy back into the cosmos. The stellar material, once tightly bound, disperses across light years, forming new nebulas, new star-forming regions, creating the very dust and gas from which new worlds are born. The act of release, even a dramatic one, creates the possibility for new beginnings. This quiet beauty in release, in letting go, is a fundamental aspect of the universe's patient march towards greater entropy. It is the undoing of temporary order, not as an act of destruction, but as an embrace of openness. When an old building crumbles, its bricks and mortar, once rigidly structured, disperse into a pile of rubble, then slowly, over time, become part of the earth itself. The energy that held them in their structured form dissipates. This physical dissolution is a return to a more probable, less constrained state, making room for new growth, new structures, or simply the quiet expanse of nature. There is a profound peace in understanding this natural flow. It suggests that resistance to letting go can be an exhausting effort against a powerful, yet gentle, universal current. Just as a cloud releases its rain, allowing the water to return to the earth, or a tree sheds its leaves in autumn, preparing for a new season of growth, there is an inherent wisdom in allowing things to move from states of concentration to states of diffusion. It is an invitation to peace and openness, a natural surrender to the universe's rhythm. As you drift deeper into the comforting embrace of sleep, feel this gentle process within you and all around you. Every breath, every subtle change in your body's temperature, every softening thought, is an act of gentle release, a participation in the universe's quiet journey towards wider distribution. There is a deep, quiet truth in the act of unclenching, of allowing energy and matter to find their most expansive, peaceful configurations. This quiet, pervasive wisdom of release guides everything towards a profound state of soft balance, a cosmic lullaby where all things find their widest repose. Tomorrow, as the final veils of night lift, we will contemplate this ultimate state, the grand unraveling of the cosmos, where everything has found its final, tranquil calm. The grand unraveling as the night deepens. Imagine the universe's grand, slow sigh, a final, peaceful expansion where all energy has spread, leaving behind a uniform, tranquil calm. This is not an end, but an ultimate state of soft balance, a cosmic lullaby, where everything has found its widest repose. As you drift deeper into the profound quiet of sleep, let your mind float freely across the vast expanse of time, stretching far, far beyond the reach of human memory or even the age of stars. We have journeyed through the subtle whispers of change, seen the cosmic ballet unfold, danced with disorder, followed the path of least resistance, and felt the gentle river of heat. Now, let us contemplate the ultimate destination of this grand, universal flow, a future so distant, so profoundly tranquil, that it feels like the universe's final, peaceful sigh. Imagine, eons from now, when every star has exhausted its brilliant fuel, when the last embers have faded, and the grand furnaces of the galaxies have cooled. The vibrant light that now twinkles in the night sky, born from the concentrated energy of hydrogen and helium, will have long since diffused into the cold, vast darkness of intergalactic space. The grand, cosmic structures, the galaxies, the clusters of galaxies, will have drifted so far apart due to the universe's ceaseless expansion that they are no longer gravitationally bound to one another. Each will be an isolated island in an unimaginably vast, empty ocean. This far-off state is sometimes called the heat death of the universe, but let us frame it not as a death, but as an ultimate state of cosmic peace, a profound equilibrium. It is not a dramatic collapse or a fiery end, but a gentle, gradual fading, a final settling into a state of maximum entropy. In this future, all the energy that was once concentrated in stars, in nuclear reactions, in the gravitational pull of galaxies, will have spread out to the greatest extent possible. The river of heat will have flowed until there are no longer any hot places or cold places, only a uniform, incredibly low temperature permeating all of space. Picture a single, vast, empty room, perfectly silent, with no variations in temperature, no light, no discernible activity. In that distant, distant future, the universe might resemble something akin to this. Individual particles, perhaps the remnants of stars, would be incredibly spread out, moving slowly, their interactions rare. There would be no more active processes that could create local pockets of order, because the energy differences required to drive such processes would no longer exist. Everything would have reached a state of perfect balance, of ultimate, diffused uniformity. This isn't a bleak vision, but a natural conclusion, a profound manifestation of the universe's inherent tendency to spread out, to let go, to seek its most probable and balanced state. It is the cosmic equivalent of the ice cube fully melting, the scent completely diffusing, the tea reaching room temperature, but on an unimaginably grand scale. The universe, having performed its magnificent dance of creation and transformation for eons, will finally come to a state of complete and utter thermal equilibrium. There will be no more available energy differences to do work, no more gradients to drive processes, just a vast, diffuse, and tranquil calm. This is the universe's ultimate repose, a state where all has been shared, all has spread, and all has come to its widest, most peaceful distribution. It is the final lullaby of the cosmos, a quiet promise that even the most energetic and dynamic systems eventually settle into a state of profound rest. And in this immense stillness, there is a deep, impersonal beauty, a surrender to the most fundamental law of the universe. As you feel your own body settling, your mind growing quiet, understand that this grand unraveling is not a sudden event, but an incredibly slow, gentle process, playing out over timescales that dwarf our understanding. It is the logical conclusion of the entropic journey, a final, boundless embrace of openness and uniformity. It is the universe arriving at a state where all distinctions have softened, all concentrations have dispersed, and all energy has found its ultimate, even distribution. And so, as you drift into the deepest sleep, know that you are part of this magnificent, ongoing story. From the moment of your birth, to the quiet rhythm of your breath now, to the far, far distant future of the cosmos, everything is part of this beautiful, irreversible flow towards greater balance and widespread distribution. There is profound peace in this truth, a cosmic lullaby that reminds us that even in the vastness of the universe, all things ultimately find their deepest, most tranquil repose. May your dreams now be as boundless and peaceful as this ultimate, grand unraveling, knowing that you are held within the universe's quiet, unfolding embrace. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. See you next time.